and integrated services and programs. Along the way, you can send us your questions and Dr. Batson will answer them. Our studio numbers 627-3223, 625-2257. And your questions could also be sent to us on WhatsApp 3061065. Good afternoon, Dr. Batson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Govind, sir. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm great. Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to the listeners of 106.5 Freedom. Always a pleasure to be here and, of course, discussing health from a natural and integrated perspective. We know we're World Cup season, so, the people with the high blood pressure need to be a little more careful, with all the excitement and that type of thing. So today we're actually going to discuss circulation. Why is circulation so important in the body? What are some of the key factors that contribute to poor circulation? And what are some of the symptomology associated with poor circulation? How could an individual really determine that they have a situation with poor circulation? And of course, what do we at Batson & Associates offer as regards to that particular situation? Of course, keep in mind, you could ask any question regarding any health issue or the products and services of Batson & Associates. So let's get right into it. So when we're discussing circulation, we're talking about blood in the body. Now, blood is primarily responsible for transporting two things in the bodies from a cellular level, and that is primarily oxygen and nutrients. Circulation is very extensive in the body. I mean, if you were to take all the blood vessels in the human body, which would be arteries, capillaries, and veins, they would actually be able to make the circumference of the Earth 2.5 times, which is 66,000 miles. That's just if all those blood vessels were actually attached to each other. And that's to tell you how extensive that is. And it would be the surface area of maybe about 10 football fields, based on, different aspects of oxygen exchange, nitric oxide exchange in the body. Nitric oxide is a gas that plays a significant role in proper cardiovascular health. In fact, it is said that once your nitric oxide levels are optimal, you cannot suffer or experience what is known as a cardiovascular accident, which would be things like myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, problems like angina, hypertension, those type of things. Once your nitric oxide levels are optimal, you find that you would have good circulation. So moving on from there, who really would be affected or who are easily affected by circulation problems? Persons who have jobs where you stand for long hours. So if you have a job where you're standing on your feet often, it can lead to a situation where you may have poor circulation. Persons who are dehydrated, of course, if you do not drink sufficient amounts of water, that could also contribute to that situation. So there are a number of different contributory factors that could actually lead or contribute to someone actually developing poor circulation. Diabetes, of course, is one of the main culprits, because the complications associated with diabetes is significant damage to the circulatory system, which is why diabetics usually tend to have serious problems with amputations, where they actually lose maybe toes, maybe limbs, and they also have serious problems with their eyesight. Eyesight, of course, and the eye being an organ that depends primarily on proper blood circulation. If your eyes don't have proper circulation, you will end up blind. You will develop things like retinal detachment, which is usually suffered by diabetics. It is referred to as diabetic retinopathy. So that's just to help you to understand that, if you have diabetes, your likelihood of developing poor circulation is significantly increased, maybe in about the 85th or 90th percentile where that is concerned. So that's something to pay attention to. Let me, of course, give you some of our information, our telephone number and locations. We are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That is Money Talks building in Montrose, Chaguanas. That telephone number is 222-8261. That's 222-8261. And for the Day Bay office is the corner of Ramsey Woods Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Day Bay. That telephone number is 223-7515. Again, that's 223-7515. And of course, let me say a pleasant good afternoon to our social media listeners. We are Batson & Associates Limited on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Batson & Associates TT. And on YouTube, we are Batson & Associates Trinidad. Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to Miss Sandra. Good luck. She says, good afternoon, Batson & Associates. So over to you, Govind, if you have any questions or just to remind the listeners of the telephone numbers.
So, of course, you could send us your questions on WhatsApp 306-1065. Also, your call is 627-3223-625-2257. You have some questions already coming in. Dr. Batson, good afternoon. My question for today is, what do you understand by someone being diagnosed with water under the heart? And what causes this? And could it be cured?
Okay. So usually when you're told that you have water under your heart, is a situation where you have a particular pulmonary situation. Now, this particular situation, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm going to remember it in a little bit. What that actually means is that you have serious problems, not only with your heart, but also with your lungs as well. And as a result of that, you find it's actually called pulmonary edema. That's what I was trying to remember. And it is primarily caused by what is referred to as congestive heart failure. Now, individuals means that, or what that means is that the heart doesn't pump blood efficiently back up into the vessels through the lungs. So you end up in a situation where you actually have problems breathing, and you have severe problems with weakness and that type of thing. Are there ways to deal with that? I mean, if it's advanced pulmonary edema, it would require some work, especially if the individual is maybe 60 plus. But if the person is under the age of 60, 50, and the diagnosis may not have been too long, maybe 2 to 4 years, then the likelihood does exist that that individual may be able to get some help. But of course, we'd have to see various reports, tests, and that type of thing, and then we would decide to go from there. As regards to how to stop or how to prevent that, you need to be careful with salt intake. I mean, that's something that a lot of persons are aware of. You hear people talking about salt, but not only salt, because a lot of people focus on salt, but sugar is actually the main culprit in a lot of these issues, even in the case of pulmonary edema and a lot of inflammatory conditions, things like irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulitis, and so on. It is basically because of the abuse of sugar, because a lot of persons don't understand that everything we eat primarily has sugar in it. And for every 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams is equivalent to 1 teaspoon. So if you were to see a drink, and on the drink they say that it has 20 grams of sugar per serving, it means that there is essentially 5 teaspoons of sugar in a serving, and a serving is primarily 8 ounces. So what about if the bottle is a 20-ounce bottle? So that's 8 by 2 is 16, that's and a half. So you're looking at 5 and 5, 10. You're looking at 12 and a half teaspoons of sugar inside of that. That's a lot. That's a lot. Just for that particular beverage. So that's just to help persons to understand. So it's something that you need to pay very close attention to. Any more questions?
Yes. Hello, doctor. Could sciatica nerve pain cause numbness and tingling below the feet? I suffered with a slip disc years ago, but I'm not diabetic.
Yes, it can. The thing is, the thing is, all back problems are primarily an acid issue, and a lot of people do not know that. Because in order to neutralize an acid, you need a base, and the only readily available base in the human body is calcium. Calcium is stored in your bones. So when your body has to be constantly taking calcium from your bones, it seriously interferes with the density and the framework of the whole musculoskeletal system, primarily your back. Your back usually has the most amount of calcium, and your back also, well, it has a high amount. Your long bones has, I think, the most. But what it means, it undermines that musculoskeletal system, and sciatica primarily affects the lumbar aspect of the spine. You hardly find people have thoracic aspect issues. Most issues tend to be always in the lumbar and the cervical aspect, because those are the 2 extremities of the spine, and you find that's very easy to end up in problems. So with sciatica, it actually blocks off circulation, and you get pain radiating from the back, go straight down to the left, down to your toes. To correct that situation, you would need some sort of adjustment, one, but apart from that, from the dietary perspective, to actually make corrections to the that whole musculoskeletal system, so tendons, ligaments, bones, that type of thing. Contrary to popular belief, people believe that if you lose bones or you lose tendons and that type of thing, that those cannot be replenished or they cannot be regenerated, and that is not entirely true. I mean, if it is an accident, the possibility means that it's going to be longer. But generally, those things can be rejuvenated. But it has a lot to do again with diet and removing inflammation from the body. And that's one of the things that we help persons do at Batson and Associates. So, if you have a situation with arthritis, there's a product we carry called Inflammation Formula. That product was primarily designed to do just that, reduce inflammatory response in the body. So you find that persons who have inflammatory bone conditions like sciatica, you'd be able to get benefit from them. But of course, we always advise that you seek consultation. So you can always call, get an appointment, and we make sure and bring all your blood tests, whatever the case may be. If we need additional information, then we would either do it or we send you to have it done. And then of course we'll be able to decide to set out what protocol you need to do to correct your particular situation. Okay, back to you, Govind.
So, of course, reminding our listeners that you could pose your questions to Dr. Batson right here on Freedom 106.5 FM, 627-3223-625-2257, and your text messages on WhatsApp 3061065. Let me also say good afternoon to all the staff members at San Fernando General Hospital. They are locked on.
Nice.
Good afternoon, doctor. What could be used for brain fog, and what's the cause of this?
Brain fog. Well, brain fog could be most of the time, just like with situations with headaches. Like you hear people, for example, let me just share a little bit. You hear people say like they suffer from headaches, but of course you have different types of headaches or classes of headaches. You have cluster headaches, you have migraine headaches, and a few others. The thing is, when you're talking about brain fog now, you're looking at 1, lack of blood flow to the brain, 2, build-up of toxins in the body. A lot of persons, when you look at detoxification, and I'm a big advocate of detoxification. Just recently, there was a doctor who did a triple-blind study on detoxification, and this was a Harvard peer-reviewed paper that was done, I think it was something like 2 or 3 years ago. And one of the things that it proved is that when you have toxic buildup, and this is something we understand as integrative practitioners, toxins actually store themselves in your tissues. So, and they can actually do that for a number of years. The problem is that when you have all this toxic buildup in the body, you end up with what is known as auto-intoxication. Auto prefix meaning self and intoxication meaning poison. So you actually have poison circulating in your bloodstream, in your lymphatic system. We primarily have 7 channels of elimination in the human body: your kidney, your colon, your bloodstream, your liver, your lymphatic system, your skin, and your lungs. So the thing is, when you have all this buildup that's circulating in all these organs that are actually supposed to be eliminating waste, you're going to be, as I said, auto-intoxication. The body is poisoning itself. So you reach a situation where you have problems with headaches, brain fog, lack of energy. You have problems with even conception. There are a lot of women that we have dealt with at Batson Associates, and all we had to do was give them a cleanser, a total 7-channel detox, which was santulan, water, and maybe some B supplements to build, and 1 or 2 other things depending on the situation. But the point is, when we were finished with them, they were actually able to conceive. So it does to tell you how crucial detoxification is, and how the buildup of toxins are serious problems. And even think about it like persons who work in different fields. So if you work, for example, in oil and gas, you'd be inhaling certain gases that most people would not inhale, even where you live. So if you live close to the cement factory, or you live close to somewhere down in the oil well there, the likelihood of you being affected by certain substances, as opposed to people living in the west or down on this side, on the eastern, this aspect, is less. And we have seen that when we do for detox, when you do blood analysis, you see, I could tell you somebody from far south, or if you live in somewhere close to one, because there are things that you see. Your body's going to pick up different toxins and different fragments and whatnot, and you can't see this under a high-powered electron microscope when we do our blood analysis. So it just begs to help you to understand that, cleansing and detoxification is important, hydration is important, but even more so for persons who work in specific fields. Think of hairdressers. I've known within recent time, if you check within the last 20 years, a lot of hairdressers dying from cancer. Is that is that an anomaly? Is it? Or is it that it has to do with, you're taking in certain chemicals on a daily basis, and you may not be aware that you should have some sort of cleansing and detoxification regime as a professional because of the profession that you're in. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's so unfortunate because, you end up paying dire consequence for that. Okay?
So, of course, yeah. So, of course, for our listeners that may be just joining us, you're listening to the program Holistic Health Consultants with the Dr. Batson from Batson and Associates, right here on Freedom 106.5 FM. You can send us your questions on WhatsApp 3061065, WhatsApp text messages, and you could also give us a call 627-3223, 625-2257. A question coming in. Hi, doctor. My relative is 64 years old. She is not diabetic or hypersensitive. She's on cholesterol-reducing drugs that she takes nightly. She recently started to have short breath occasionally, but this happens only during the day. Can you advise what might be causing this, and what should she do going forward?
I mean, okay, so based on the what was said, there is no underlying conditions, right? No diabetes, no hypertension, nothing like that, right? I think that was mentioned, that there was no...
Yes.
Okay, good.
Correct.
And the age was 65, correct?
64, yeah.
64, okay, cool. The thing is, I normally tell persons, look at it like this. When you look at nutrition and what nutrition really encompasses, a lot of persons are limited in their understanding of what nutrition really is. I mean, some persons would know just basic things like a protein, carbohydrates, fats, and then vitamins, minerals, things like zinc, whatever the case may be. But nutrition is so much more than that and so broad in its spectrum when you start to look at things like phytonutrients, anthocyanins, and you can go on in depth and in depth and in depth. But in any case, when you start to look at things like marine phytoplankton, so the benefits are things like sea moss, fucoidan, and all those type of things. So with this particular individual, my advice is always this. People don't really understand what involves in supplementation. So somebody at the age of 64, I would have recommended some sort of regime that they would have from a supplemental and a dietary perspective, because I always work that way. I don't know if the person is able to exercise as well, because that's a factor that you also needed to take into consideration. So when you look at proper hydration, proper nutrition, which would include some specific aspect of a properly tailored supplemental regime, which people need, and some people just don't know that, but we all need it. Some to different extents, as opposed to how am I answering this question for a 64-year-old, as opposed to if it is you bring a college athlete. For me, if you bring a 19-year-old football player and I have to design a program and a supplemental regime, that's going to be completely different from somebody who is a 65-year-old or 64-year-old female who's at home, whatever the case may be, right? So to answer the question, really, I think what they need to do is cover their bases in proper hydration, proper supplementation, proper exercise regime. And once you have covered that, if those problems still persist, then it might be just more tailoring of the supplemental and dietary aspect. But you have given the opportunity to the individual to be exceptionally and extremely healthy. And that's what a lot of persons don't do, in the sense that you have to give yourself the best chance to be healthy. And in order to do that, there are certain things that your body must have. So you must have, like I was telling somebody recently, it's only because of COVID, a lot of persons now know about D3 and zinc. But I personally have been using D3 and zinc for the last 15 years. Because I knew so long how valuable it was. So it's just, for everyone to understand, listen to me. You need to know where you are, whether your problem is diabetes, hypertension, your age, your circumstance. And once we know where you are, and then where you need to be, then we need to do the correct aspect, whether testing, whatever, and then make the recommendation. And then you're going to have a before and after. So let's say we work with you and we say, okay, we do a blood test now. These are the blood tests. We do them in January. And then 4 months after, April, we look at them, we do them over again. And then we look at the improvement or what needs to be improved. But there's definitely going to be improvement. So you actually now have empirical data to prove, not only from a what we call an anecdotal perspective, where you alone feel good. And you feel, because the person is saying, okay, I'm feeling better, but we now have empirical data that supports that individuals actually saying that they're feeling better. Okay?
Let's take a couple calls. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Dr. Batson here. The last expression I'm giving here is that a blood test is the most accurate check to see how your body is the nutrition. Make sure your body gets all the important nutrition. Make sure your body is the nutrition in your body up to mark. Then a blood test is the only the only thing that really is it's not thinking about that.
No, that's not what I said. No, that's not what I said. I could clarify for you if that was your question, or you had something further to ask.
I think that was the question.
That was the question. Okay, good. No, what I said, there's something known as live nutritional blood cell analysis, and you would have seen that advertised previous times or whatever the case may be. The thing is, when you're trained microscopists like myself and the people who work with me, blood is life. Blood, once you have healthy blood, you will be healthy. Okay? Now, blood is supposed to look a particular way. It is supposed to behave a particular way. But blood is the greatest witness in the sense that blood is actually able to tell past, present, and future. Now, in Western medicine and normal pathology and testing, hematology and that type of thing, there would be certain tests that they do, but they have to test your blood. So, for example, if you go to the doctor and let's say you come to me and you have an inflammation problem, right? There's a test known as an ESR, which is an acronym for erythrocyte sedimentation ratio. And when you do that test, your number is supposed to be within a particular range. If you're over that, it means that you have high inflammation in the body. But the reason they were able to tell you that is because they took your blood and they did a particular test. If you are male, you want to go and check your prostate, there's a test known as a PSA. PSA is an acronym for prostatic specific antigen. So blood carries specific messages, that is actually be able to taken up from collected from a chemical perspective, biological perspective, that type of thing. I'm not talking about that type of test. I'm talking about live nutritional blood cell analysis, where we take a drop of blood from your finger, which is capillary blood, we put it under a high-powered microscope. When you do that, you actually have the ability to determine what is known as biological terrain. And very quickly, biological terrain gives you an idea of how your body is actually able to either encourage disease or reduce disease in the sense that we're able to see inflammatory response. And when you're able to actually see inflammation from the perspective of the blood, it gives you a better picture and a wider scope where you're actually able to work with the individual. And I'll give you an example quickly. There was a time we had this client in St. James who came, and they had a situation where they had headaches for 5 years, persistent headaches. They did a number of tests and brought basically a library of information for me to look at, which I didn't really go through everything because they went by 6 different specialists. And the whole long and short of the story is that when I saw what was going on and that type of thing, we did a sample of the blood and all the answers was there. And I told them, I said, listen to me, all of this here, what you're doing, you was looking at it from the wrong perspective. The person's biological terrain was so in a mess, for want of a better expression, that what the person was actually doing is exactly what I explained a little while earlier. Auto-intoxication, the body was poisoning itself. So this individual had headaches, they had serious problems with constipation. Could you imagine going to the washroom like once or twice a week? That's what that person was experiencing. But a lot of persons do not understand that once you're able to see that blood and that biological terrain, you know, we have to understand that sick people are supposed to get better, regardless of what sickness you have. And I stand by that. Whether it's cancer, diabetes, whatever sickness you have, sickness or sick people are supposed to get better over a period of time, depending on the sickness that you have. But don't tell me that you're sick for 15 years and 20. What are you doing? Degrees are shorter than that. You can do degree, master, PhD. Why are you sick so long? 15 years you sick? You know you stay yourself, you know you stay anybody. Now, that's not me trying to be facetious in any way or, condescending to anybody, but it's just a matter of people understanding. Listen, if you're sick, you either have too much of something or you have too little of something, because all the body has to do is maintain balance, homeostasis. That's primary school biology. So it means that if you're ill, if you have diabetes, cardiovascular problem, pulmonary disease, stroke, whatever you have, it is because you are out of balance. How do we get you back in balance? That's the question. And that's what we do at Batson and Associates.
Dr. Batson, another question coming in.
Yes, sir.
Can you give some information about stem cell therapy, and do you carry any products for this?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of that. Huge. So much so that what stem cells are, before any cell in the human body has differentiation, you have something known as a stem cell. So, okay, so we have liver cell, kidney cell, heart cell. So before those cells actually had differentiation for organ and purpose, they would have been stem cells, which is undifferentiated cells. So stem cell therapy basically helps or inject those cells into the human body. And when in doing that now, those cells actually go to the part of the body that needs the most amount of help. So for example, if you have a problem with your eyes or you have a problem with your cardiovascular, what stem cell is going to do is go directly to that area and actually start to work on it. As we age, after we pass the age of about 20, there are two key things that the body stops doing. It stops synthesizing protein the way that it used to, and it also lowers in its production of stem cells and the storage of the amount of stem cells that you actually have. So a lot of your stem cells there, but they actually go dormant. So stem cell therapy can actually increase or encourage that the change, or making those cells not dormant again, rather, and the body actually utilizing them. As regards to products we carry, yes, there are a number of products that we carry. There was one that was quite popular some time ago, which is an avian egg product that actually helps, and I've seen and used that with a lot of clients as regards to, especially persons who have problems with their eyes. It works really well for persons with cardiovascular problems. And then there are two other products that we brought in recently that are, well, not recently, maybe about 2 years now, that we actually work with persons for that as well. One having glutathione, and then glutathione is the master antioxidant in the body. It's primarily produced in the liver, but again, with aging and sometimes dietary constraints and stress, your glutathione levels are not as optimal as they should. And that antioxidant is the one that actually causes all the other antioxidants, including the very famous vitamin C, to work. If glutathione is not present, vitamin C cannot work, or any other antioxidant. That is referred to as the master antioxidant in the body. But again, you could also get that information. You could give us a call or visit our head office is Chagonas. That's 222-8261. That's 222-8261. As well as Davy. Davy is 223-7515. That's 223-7515. Yes, Govind.
Dr. Batson, another question. Can you help with decreased vision caused by increased intracranial pressure?
Yeah, we can help in that situation. I mean, because if you have increased intracranial pressure, which is primarily increased pressure in the brain, there has to be a reason why. It would have to be some sort of accident or some sort of lash, as we say. And that swelling is supposed to be able to come down. If the swelling is not coming down, you would have had to see some specialists. They would have had to do some CT scans of the brain, MRI, that type of thing. So if that swelling is not going down, then we need to know exactly why it's not going down. That's the angle I would take. And then, of course, as regards to the eyesight, we can improve that. But of course, the pressure in the brain is primarily what we need to solve. So if you have your information and you want some help, you could give us a call, and I believe I could deal with that case.
Okay, great. Well, Dr. Batson, we're just about a minute and a half or so before the end of this segment today.
Okay.
So, of course, you could probably share some information with our listeners in terms of how they can reach you, your locations and contact numbers as well.
Oh, definitely. So you feel free to give us a call or visit. Keep in mind, we are live on our social media platforms, and you could like us and follow us. We are Batson Associates Limited on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Batson Associates TT. On YouTube, we are Batson Associates Trinidad. Locations, again, Chagonas. Once you get this number, you could get onto all the other numbers. Chagonas number is 222. That's 222-8261. That's 222-8261. Davy is the corner of Ramsey Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Davy. That telephone number is 223-7515. St. James is Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James. That telephone number is 220-8113. And Tobago is the Triangle Building in Scarborough, Tobago. That number is 226-4553. So you can also WhatsApp us on 314-9975. As we always say at Batson Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Govin, always a pleasure to be in your company, sir. To the listeners of 10. Yes, sorry about that. To the listeners of Freedom, pleasant good afternoon and God bless.
Thank you so much, Dr. Batson. Always a pleasure as well. So that, of course, wraps up our special segment. Holistic Health Consultants, Batson and Associates, Dr. Jason Batson, thank you once again for joining us. And the company provides services such as live nutritional blood analysis, critical body function analysis, testing, and foot spa detox. So you could call them today, 2228-261, or send them a message on WhatsApp, 314-9975. Visit them at the first floor Money Talks building, 182 Southern Main Road, Montrose, Chaguanas. Thank you once again for that special segment right here on Freedom 106.5 FM.
This is the all-new Talk Radio, Freedom 106.5.
Yes, my friends. So that program, it was actually half an hour. Yeah, I actually thought we would have gone longer. I think we had some makeup, something. But we have. Yeah, I think we'll have to organize accordingly. Yeah. So, guys, I see our social media. So, Ms. Sharon Ramcharan says, "What is the treatment for polycystic ovaries?" There are a number of products we carry. Women's Formula, we have Uterine and Cysts. That's actually a very good product, very popular. Ms. Federica Joseph says, "Good afternoon, Dr. Batson, watching from New York. Thanks for the great information. God bless you and your team." Thanks so much. Ms. Vanetta Reed, good afternoon, Dr. Batson. Ms. Daphne Charles, blessed afternoon, Doc. Ms. Ava Garcia, she says, "Good afternoon, Dr. Batson." So, people, yes.
Our next program.
Yes, yeah. So we heading out now, and at 3 o'clock we have DJ Mamu TT. No, DJ Mamu Radio TT.com. Yeah. Right. We'll be on that from 3 to 4 o'clock.
3 to 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So all the questions that we could not answer, right?
Yeah.
We'll be able to answer for that hour-long program.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. We'll be able to do that. Okay, yeah, because I see someone asking me about hair growth. So let me just go and organize some stuff, and then we will be back with you guys. Well, those of you actually able to join us on the live, we will be here with you guys, okay? So as we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. God bless, and do enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take care.